Hey guys, welcome to another video. Today we're looking at a couple of US East rank games played by FairJame. He's got 80 ping in this one. That's about as good as you can get from Europe on the US East server. And he's up against Com, who is an RLCS player for version 1. So right off the start of this game, FairJame is going to get one goal with a very nice aerial shot. And before we get deeper into this, let me explain to you how I found this game and the one other game we're going to be looking at today, and why this one might be a little bit spicy. So, I was streaming last week, and I can't remember exactly why, but one of my viewers told me that they'd been watching a bunch of American players, a bunch of American pros who had been streaming, and they kept running into FairJame because apparently FairJame was playing on the US East servers, and they were all having a bad time. They hated playing against FairJame because, of course, FairJame is a really good twos player. But Com in particular, I can't believe that it's Com in this game. And the reason for that is because I've been seeing Com tweet multiple times recently about how much he hates getting European and also South American players in his ranked games. They've got higher ping, they probably play differently than European players, and he just doesn't enjoy it. He doesn't like playing with them in his team either, as far as I can see from his tweets. But I like this tweet in particular: EU players, please stop queuing NA servers and tainting our high quality ranked games. Of course, Com is doing a bit of impression farming here, but I'm sure there's a little bit of truth to this and how he feels having a queue into and with European players on his own server. It looks like he might have missed a free shot there. Not sure if he could get around it with the angle, as we are watching this game from FairJame's POV, and he was demoed. But yeah, this must be something to watch out for. Of course, Com is a great player. He plays for version 1 in RLCS, or he did play for version 1 in RLCS Season X. I believe that they're keeping the same team going into the next season as well. I expect great things from him and from his team, and he's honestly been one of the most fun players to commentate and to cast whenever I've had the chance to do so on my channel. So don't think of this at all as a jab against him. I just couldn't believe it. The first game when I went on ball chasing and found FairJame in US East, it's got Com on the other team. Of course it had to. So that's just a little story about how I found this game. But as usual, I've not cherry picked. These are the two most recent games that I could find from FairJame on US East. This one was played at the end of August, and the next one will be at the start of September. But you'll notice that most of what FairJame has done in this game, oh, that's almost a great goal. Managed to sneak it past the defender there. But most of what FairJame's done is pressure the ball, and this is something you'll see with a lot of the high-level French players, a lot of the high-level European players, especially in 2v2, is they will not concede ball pressure to go get big boost. This whole time, FairJame has not gone for a big boost. He has just stayed next man on the play or pressured the ball if he has to. And here, even now, we're looking at what FairJame's doing. He's not rotating out there, and some players might be thinking that's a bad play by FairJame to just cut in front of his teammate and block his teammate's entry to the play. But actually, by FairJame pressuring the ball there, it makes his teammate's life a lot more easy. His teammate can just sit at the back, and no matter what happens, the blue team is likely to come away with the ball. Either FairJame will force the orange team player to lose control of the ball, and then FairJame's teammate can take it for free, or FairJame will just win it with the challenge. And in both of those cases, it's much better. And it's really helpful that FairJame just pressures the ball. So, they're up by 2. And again, FairJame is just focusing on staying active in the play, doesn't really care about the fact that his boost is low, and now he'll probably make a beeline straight back towards his net. He does indeed, because he sees that there is a threat of a shot. All this time, and for a lot of the time in this game, FairJame has played without access to a 100 boost pad, and that is something that I think is far more common on the European server. On the American server at the very high level, players will often just leave the play, go get 100 boosts, at least from what I've seen, a lot more often than European players and European server players from the Middle East region. Now, neither one of those playstyles is necessarily better than the other, but you have to notice, I mean, right there, FairJame's teammate just left FairJame alone, and he wasn't a part of the play. I'm actually going to rewind to that and watch it again at the end of this game very quickly, but since I know some of you want to see the outcome of this game, let's just keep watching for now. But it's quite an interesting comparison to notice the different styles between FairJame and his teammate here, how they support their teammate who is defending when they're closer to the ball. Will they pressure the ball or will they back off for 100 boosts? But like I was saying, neither style is necessarily the better style. everything in Rocket League is situational, especially when it comes to 2v2. So you can make it work, and you can, of course, have great success prioritizing boost as the main objective, and really trying to control the boost, starve the boost from your opponent, and keep your own boost at 100 at all times, even if that means sacrificing ball pressure and having to do a bit of goal line defense. That can be an effective strategy as well. But it is interesting to notice the differences. We will, if this is the end of the game. I'm not sure if it will be, but there's a chance still for Orange Team to get a goal here, albeit very difficult goal to secure. And I think that should be it. Indeed it is, it's a forfeit. So with that confirmed win, let's go back and look at this goal, because I think it's very interesting. Let's go in FairJame's teammates' perspective. Right here, this is the moment I want you guys to pay attention to, because in this moment, I think if you swap the places here, if this is FairJame, there's absolutely no way that I think he's going away for boost. He's going to stay near the ball, and that is in a situation where he doesn't have any boost. But the reason why, I think it would have been better for FairJame's teammate to stay on the ball here, or at least stay near the ball, is to force Com to make a play earlier. Start air dribbling or start dribbling, whatever it is that he decides to do, but just make him do something, stay on the ball. So the flick obviously didn't work, and now Com has control. So the best thing that Fairy's teammate Kuzi can do here, I'm not sure how to pronounce his name, is to pressure the ball, and that will force Com to make a play. Now let's watch what Com sees. So Com actually does go up into the air anyway, so the pressure would have been, like right now, Kuzi would have been under the ball, it's worth mentioning. And Com is a great player in the air, as you guys who know about Com will be aware of. So in this case, it probably wouldn't have made too much of a difference, because Com wanted to air dribble in regardless. But not every player is as good in the air at Com, and not every player will be comfortable taking off from, I mean, this is a pretty awkward angle. You've got to hand it to Com. This is a great takeoff, that he's able to get this ball under control when it's side on to him. But a lot of players will take another touch here, and if Kuzi just turns back around and goes for a bump, then he'll probably alleviate all the pressure. But he decided to leave instantly as soon as this first touch comes through. I mean, at this point, it's not a guarantee that Com is going to air dribble. He might actually just let this ball come back down and go for a dribbling play. And that's a much more dangerous situation, because those plays lead into air dribble bumps a lot of the time, which are harder to defend. But because he committed to leaving immediately, so Com could have actually controlled this ball and tried to 1v1 Fairy. He ended up actually just putting up a really sick air dribble. That's just a great goal. So this is by no means me blaming Kuzi for this goal. This isn't really, I mean, if Kuzi did pressure the ball as he should have, I think Com would have still scored. So it's really just Com putting on a great play. This isn't my attempt at, or this isn't me trying to throw the blame on Kuzi and say that FairJame's not to blame here. FairJame just got outplayed, and it happens. You know, sometimes you get outplayed. Sometimes you go low on an air dribble challenge, and the player last touches it over you. Especially in the world of flip resets being so popular, it's very normal for players to go low on their challenge, expecting the flip reset, especially from Com. So that's just something I thought was really interesting, and it's something I expect to see in any games where I see European versus NA in 2v2. Lots of ball pressure from EU, and it does force the other players to, on the other team, to move the ball more quickly and to make plays more quickly, which can often give a free possession to the teammate who's just waiting in goal. So let's look out for that in the second game, but also I'd be very curious to know from Com himself. He's been tweeting a lot of disdain at having to play against and with European players in ranked. I wonder if that thing that I've been talking about here, ball pressure, has anything to do with it. Is it the different styles of prioritizing ball pressure over boost? But anyway, I've gone on far too long here. Let's get into game 2 before I keep waffling. So game 2, FairJame on 116 ping this time against a partied up team. This server not quite as good as the last one, but still absolutely playable for a player as good as Fairy. And of course, sticking with the theme of game 1, all I'm going to be paying attention to, or one of the things I'm mostly going to be paying attention to, is FairJame's positioning, and I do expect him to just stay very close to the play as often as he can. The only times you ever see FairJame backing off is when the play is accelerating away from him and he can't be a part of it. He can't challenge or pressure the ball, and he can't defend the net, so he might as well just let his teammate move in and rotate in behind. And that does happen. You always, like I said in the first game here, you always have to take every situation as it comes in 2v2 and 3v3 and in Rocket League in general, but especially in 2v2. It is a very fluid game mode. You don't have that third man to anchor your team, and that really forces the second man in every play to try and be a jack of all trades, try and cover the defensive option while still being a supporting player to his teammate. But already we're getting a goal from FairJame's teammate. Great result there from Jord. The defense didn't really do the job though, unfortunately for the orange team. Both challenges completely failing to connect. But here, to the surprise of no one, I'm sure at this point, FairJame sticks in a challenge with no boost. And he's waiting around in the mid boost. He didn't actually see when that one got taken, but look at this now. Fake challenge into reverse challenge. A combination that we often see in 1v1. That's just a way that FairJame can get close to the ball. Obviously with no boost, there's no way for him to quickly turn, boosting through a turn. Wouldn't be surprised if that ball lagged one way than the other, because FairJame took a long time to react to that one, so it looked like you might have seen something different or on his client side that the server actually had happen. And now FairJame in a 1v1, and not a bad flick attempt, but the pre-jump save is effective for the orange team. Jord actually just going to leave FairJame to challenge the ball here. FairJame taking his time with the challenge, and if you're wondering why he didn't just immediately dive in there, it's because his teammate's still grabbing boost behind him. FairJame's waiting. He doesn't want to challenge immediately, because if he does and the ball goes past him, his teammate might not yet have rotated in and be ready to follow up on the play. So he takes his time, makes sure that his teammate has got enough time to grab the boost in the corner and come back into the play. And he's taking his time on this play as well. Wants to break the challenge, actually gets past it clean. That's a beautiful dribble, and now teammate from FairJame goes for the bump. FairJame waited to see if it was going to land before shooting towards the bottom corner. Obviously there's a couple of options there for FairJame's teammate, who has just scored again off another mispositioned second man on the orange team. But you know, there's a couple of options for FairJame's teammate when they're in a 2v1. He can of course do the run ahead demo like we saw, but personally I would have liked to see the just back off to the far post side. He was in that position anyway, could have just gone further away from the play, given FairJame a lot of space to work with, and then of course if FairJame sees the defender move towards the middle to cut off the pass, he could just shoot near post. If the defender blocks it near the near post, then FairJame can go for the pass. So yeah, I think all three options are good, but I would have loved to see the passing one, of course. Especially since the teammate had to overtake FairJame in order to get into the demo position. So FairJame's teammate realizes he's got boost, FairJame doesn't in this moment, so he just charges in, takes control of the ball, and you might be thinking that that's a really rude play, especially to make on a player like FairJame, but it looks like Jord knew that he had control. There was no one ready to contest him if he just asserted the control aggressively, and it turned out to be right. He's playing a very fast-paced game. FairJame isn't being forced into uncomfortable positions because of this. He's just backing him up on every single play, and they are working really well as a unit. 3-0 now, and a forfeit. So great game there out of FairJame and his teammate, with Jord really just playing a very, very aggressive, fast-paced style, and FairJame, with the ball pressure he's able to put on the opponents, gave a ton of opportunities for his teammate to just come in and take the ball for free. And that's in essence what you're going for when you're playing ball pressure priority playstyle instead of boost priority playstyle. So really cool to see FairJame in these games. He's able to be effective even with random teammates and high ping at the highest level, but who would be surprised by this? It's FairJame after all, and he is still absolutely one of the best players in the world, and definitely a 2v2 master. But let me know in the comments what you think about the differing styles. I know there's plenty hardcore Rocket League fans among you guys who watch more than just my videos and watch players from North America, pros from Europe, and you can see the differing styles of play, especially since 2v2 is the most streamed game mode. We don't get a lot of 2v2 competition, but we do see ranked games on live streams very often. So if that's something you have been watching recently, then let me know if this is something you've also been able to spot, as it is certainly for me, and to a lesser extent we also see this in 3v3 in SMAD. European teams fearlessly pressuring the ball at all times, where we saw a lot more deep rotation coming out of NA. Like I said, I just want to echo once again, neither style is necessarily better than the other, but I think that the EU style is definitely a much more controlling style, and one that puts a ton more pressure on your opponents. And I think that's why you do see it happen quite a lot when high-level competition comes out, and help BDS dominate Europe in the last RLCSX season. But that's all we got time for today. Sorry for the big gap between these two games. I did want to go in depth on that little goal replay. And if you guys want to see any more players rank games, then leave those players in the comments as well. I'll see what I could do. I'll see if I could find any of the games on ball chasing that we can take a look at. But for now, have a great rest of your day, night, wherever it is you are, and thanks for watching.